I recently had a conversation with a mum whose little girl with Down syndrome had been turned away from the church. This is because the people in the children's work had decided she was a health and safety risk, and she couldn't use scissors safely, she couldn't do this safely, or she might hurt one of the other children, which was just completely wrong. That's because the children's leaders had actually approached it from a problem point of view, whereas actually when we're looking at additional needs, we should be looking at the child and not the problem. Once we view it as a problem, we've lost it really. What we should see is a child like any other child, a child that still has the capacity to have a relationship with Jesus, to know him, to love him, to talk to him, to respond to him. And that should be our vision, not the management of behaviour or making things safe. Let me give you some really good stories of how children have been included. There was one lovely young lady that I saw included at a large event, but I could see how her church had wrapped around her to include her. She was with her peer group, everybody knew how she did things, how she spoke, where she needed support. So actually we didn't have to put any support in place for her at all. She was just there with her friends. We made a few exceptions. She sat nearer the front. She wanted to be able to see everything that was going on the stage. And actually, horror of horrors, on the child protection side, she took to my husband so much because he has a funny beard that every day she had to come up and stroke his beard before she could go back to her group and learn more about Jesus. Just a simple thing where she felt really, really included. It's so important that we don't remove that caring of a child from their peers, that so much support can come in there and they can learn so much. But there is a case of also needing one-to-one support for some children as well. Not always people that teach, but just someone that can stand alongside and mentor and really support them. A lot of people think that inclusion is only having all the children together in one room, whereas actually inclusion can be just being what that child needs at one moment in time. So if they need 10 minutes on their own outside the room, that is still inclusion. So don't feel as if you have to do something that many children can't cope with. And of course, what you can't cope with because you haven't had professional training. So just start to think, child loved by God, a child of God, and not problem. And you'll find that things will move on very quickly.